Hey Ashley,
Hey, Kaycee. What's up?
this is Nostalgic Nightcaps.
Yeah.
Okay, so usually we talk about the movies and books and TV shows and all that of the things that we loved when we were younger. And in this episode, we are talking about something that talks about one of those things.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we watched.
Like, knocked my microphone down.
She got so excited. We watched Not Just A Goof, which is it's a documentary about the making of a Goofy movie, which aired 30 years ago. Happy
30 years
birthday.
ago, April 7th, 1995. Can we just talk about the name? What a good name. Because it comes from the song After Today,
Positive proof that I'm
that I'm
not just
not
a
just a
goof.
goof.
Oh, that
Great
was,
song, by the way.
yeah, great title.
Yeah.
And it also is double meaning because not just a goof, like it's not, we thought that this was a silly movie that came out in 1995, but obviously since you and I talked about it longer than the movie runtime even is, and
Right.
so many other people do, which there's a whole segment in this documentary about like the fans' love for this movie.
Mhm.
It's great.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite songs.
Mm, yeah. It's so good. I know honestly, we could have talked about that for 5 hours. The
We could
song
have.
by itself.
Yeah. The all the characters in it.
Yeah, the goth girls,
We
that's
hardly talked about the
us.
goth girls. We only examined their glove status. We didn't talk about the and up with the comics.
We spent so much time talking about gloves.
I know.
Didn't talk about the goth girls.
We're gonna have another bonus episode.
We might have to come. Well, let's just come back to it every April until we die.
You know what? When I don't even remember how this came up, but I was telling Matt that we were doing this, and he said that we should have every year for the last 30 years made an episode and then released them all this year. Just 30 episodes. But and I was like, there'd be an episode like for each character. We'd have an up with the comics, a whole episode on him,
Mhm.
whatever.
Oh my God. Should we
You know,
just be a goofy movie podcast now?
this is now the Goofy Movie official Disney sponsored podcast.
You can't say things like that. They're gonna come after us.
I'm just kidding. We're not. We're not.
So, Not Just a Goof was made because one of the directors, his uncle is Kevin Lima, who,
It's the director of the Goofy movie.
yeah, and also like is an animator and has done a ton of things, like Tarzan, right? He did Tarzan.
He did Tarzan. I think it said 102 Dalmatians and Enchanted. I
Hmm.
think were his Disney director.
He was a lot younger than I thought he would be. And I think that
Yeah.
that makes sense considering he
Mhm.
made it so modern and so of the
Relatable.
time as he kept
Yeah.
talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised too, like that he was still as young as he is
Yeah, he's a
30
cutie
years
pie. I
later.
liked him a
I
lot.
know. Yeah.
He had good charisma too. Like he was a good documentary subject.
Hmm. Definitely. I absolutely loved how they did this documentary. They had the animations. It was like reenactments of what happened, but it was animated in Goofy movie style. That's
Oh,
genius.
that was adorable. And like
Yes.
it just really it shows you like how much these people care about
Hmm.
this movie because they
Yeah.
cared deeply about this
Yeah.
movie.
Enough to actually do all this animation for it.
Hmm.
They had Jeffrey Katzenberg as a as an anthropomorphic dog throughout.
That was so funny watching him yell at Bob Iger.
Yes. Okay.
That made me laugh. Bob Iger was like this huge dog, like
He had a hat that said CEO.
yeah. I was like, get his ass, get his absolute ass.
I know. God.
Oh my gosh, my favorite tidbit, which is absolutely ridiculous, and it shows you how much these people who are the money makers for studios don't actually understand movies,
Hmm.
is that they were trying to have Steve Martin be Goofy, not. do the voice of Goofy.
No.
Because they were like, "Oh, does he do a good Goofy?" And he's like, "No, I don't want him to do. I want him to do it as Steve Martin."
Yeah.
And they were like,
Like, excuse me?
and he knew, Kevin knew, and he's like, "Try it, let's do it." And they
Yeah.
were like, "Oh, that's a really bad idea."
Yeah. So they had Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, do a bunch of takes just with his regular voice, and it did
Mhm.
not go over well
Yeah.
at all.
Oh, that made me laugh. I was like, "Yeah, these guys don't know what the fuck they're talking about."
Yeah. And that, I mean, for him to be able to be so like strong in his conviction and be like, no, this, we're not going to do this, because you could easily, I'm sure it would be very hard to stand up to someone like that and be like, no, we're not doing that. But
I feel like he was so steadfast in so many things. He was like, no, we need to do it like this and we need to do it like
mhm.
that. I really liked the detail of having Powerline as he was, where it's like this, it has to be believable as a actual R&B hit. Like these songs
Yeah.
have to sound like they would be on the radio and they would be a hit. And he
Hmm.
got in Tevin Campbell, who was just like such a little baby cutie pie.
I know. How old was he? Did you look at?
I don't know. He looked so
He
young
looked
though.
extremely young.
And then these the Waters family band backup singers,
Oh, they were so good. He's 48. So he would have been 19.
the voice of a fucking angel. Like his voice,
Voice is
they talked
amazing.
about how he did 2 takes just straight through, no
I know.
mistakes, just straight up.
Incredible.
Oh,
I could never.
that's why I said you have to listen to more of his music because
I really should.
he's got a beautiful voice.
I didn't really even know that he made other music. I loved just all the behind the scenes footage that he had. I thought
Hmm.
like it just made it so human to just show. Like it starts out, it's at Kevin Lima's house, and they just go down to his basement where he has all these little bins of all the movie memorabilia that he got from him. It's like he has these little figurines of Max and Roxanne. Poor Roxanne's little ankle is broken or whatever.
Yeah, through all the interviews that are right beside
Yes,
him.
it's so
And
cute.
Jason Marsden, the voice of Max, also had a bunch of of Goofy stuff in his room too.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just I thought it was very well done. You could tell. I mean, there was one of the first things that he says is like, because he that was his first movie that he ever directed,
Mhm.
and he was like talking about how it was this whole new team, and he was like, we had to prove that we were worth something. Like his voice cracks, like he just start crying.
No.
Like, oh God,
Kevin
yeah,
Lima is a treasure, and
yes,
he talks about how, because there's a lot of like really personal moments in this. He talks about
hmm
how his own dad left when he was really young, and
yeah,
he has to make this movie about this father-son relationship, which he's like never really had. And he talks about how he made it to something he wanted. Like he said
yeah.
they have the relationship that he wishes he had with his dad.
I know.
And I think that goes back to a lot of what we said about how like beautiful and like sweet their relationship is and how it's such a great show of positive masculinity.
Yeah. And it's not perfect,
Mm-mm.
which is just so important too, because people aren't perfect.
They talk a lot about balancing like the goofiness and the sincerity, which
Mhm.
I feel like we had trouble talking about ourselves on
I know.
our on the episode because we were like Goofy's vulnerability and his well, and it's like it sounds so silly because it is like
It
Goofy
is.
is a silly character and a lot of people could not take that seriously.
Yeah.
When they were talking about like the reviews and they were like Kevin Lima said that someone said to him, "How dare you turn him into a character with emotions?"
Ugh,
And I was like, man, men would rather review movies than go to therapy.
I know. Ugh.
That's what I thought of when I
Yeah.
saw fucking one of those those double the team of mu movie reviewers, the Roger Siskel or whoever it was.
Siskel and Ebert.
And I was like, what do you have to say? Like, I still hate you for what you said about the craft, so oh, whatever.
Yeah. I don't know what they're talking about.
Mm-mm.
If it wasn't made for a white man, it has no value. That's what it always
Well,
comes back to.
going back to Tevin Campbell and just like Powerline and talking about all that, it was the reason why I think that if you love a Goofy movie, you should watch this is because seeing those behind the scenes of how they said the eye to eye scene was the most complicated one because there were so many
Hmm.
moving parts of it. And they literally had these three dancers that were Powerline, Goofy, and Max. And they
Hmm.
were all had their separate dance styles doing the perfect
Perfect cast.
cast.
Yeah.
And it was so cool to watch.
It was so good. And they had the backup dancers too, the
Yeah.
women. Yeah. And they said like, we could have never made this without that because it would just be too hard to imagine what it would all look like.
I love seeing that process because it's not something you really think about with animation. You think that
Right.
animation is like it's your imagination
Hmm.
because that's really what Disney like tells you.
Yeah.
Walt Disney himself.
Right.
You learn to draw from real things, even if you
Mhm.
are drawing what is imaginary, what's in your
Yeah. You
head.
have to have some kind of reference.
Yes, but seeing the dance, them playing it, oh, that was so cool. I just
It
absolutely love
was.
that.
Yeah. I was surprised. I think I have known this, but to really think about that usually an animated feature film takes 4 years to make, like, oh
So
my gosh. And they were working like nonstop throughout. This one they said they got out in 2.5 years.
they were so excited because they were like, they were talking about like it's the Disney Renaissance.
Hmm.
You know, everyone's pumped, and then all this stuff happens within Disney, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
they're like, The Lion King's coming out, and they're like, fuck,
Hmm.
which totally overshadowed a
Oh,
Goofy
for
movie.
sure. Yeah. And then yeah, like it was I feel like it would have been scrapped if they weren't so far along in the process when Jeffrey Katzenberg left. I don't think it ever would have been made. That would have
No, that
sucked.
we would have been losing so much. This world would have lost so
I
much.
know. I can't believe how good it is.
What they had to say about, Goofy and Max and being up against these big giant movies that are The Lion King, The Little Mermaid, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's kind of what I was talking about last week about how there were most movies have these big villains, and this
Hmm.
movie does not. I think it was Kevin Lima who said we just had Max and Goofy.
Yeah.
And that stuck out to me a lot.
Just a real life story. Family relationships. I feel like we talk about a lot how that is like generally seen as like what women write about and what women want to see.
Hmm
But to see it
hmm
as two male characters, that's like unheard of. Just to have just
Yes.
only two male characters and it's just about their relationship. I don't know. I can't think of anything else that's really like that.
It is kind of interesting because I was just thinking the same thing. And I was just thinking though how like the parental relationships are so weird in Disney movies, especially because it's like a young teenage girl and then it'll be like the dad and he's like, don't do that. And she's like, but daddy, I love him. But then I was like, oh, The Lion King actually did have a son dad relationship, but it was different than this one, obviously, because
Yeah,
it had a lot to do with like royalty and like what being the king,
right.
rather than focusing on the relationship itself. So
Hmm.
you're totally right about that in Disney and elsewhere.
Yeah, just in general. And I feel like with The Lion King, those are like some of the best moments are just when it
Mhm.
is just father and son, just being a father and son, just playing around and
Yeah.
hanging
Yeah, when they're
out.
like wrestling, yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what I thought about.
And that's like the whole movie here.
That's so true. I think that that's so beautiful that they were able to make this movie.
Yeah.
And and whenever they were talking about how like people were like this is so weird that you're making this movie about Goofy and it's heartfelt and blah blah blah. And I was like, that shows you how good of a story this is.
Right. Yeah. Because it overcame that.
And just has so much heart.
Hmm.
I do. I love it whenever a documentary about a piece of media talks about the fans because fans are important and huge and
Yeah.
are the reason why this movie has such a lasting impact. And actually,
Mhm.
it's funny because I just started reading this book called Everything I Get from You, I believe.
Mm.
Everything I Want, I Get from You. I don't know. It's a book about how fandom made the internet.
Okay.
It's kind of about how One Direction fans
Yeah.
it's like kind of molded around that, but it just talks about fans and the internet a lot. And especially about how it's a lot of girls, teenage girls that make up fandoms and whatever.
Yeah.
But I love seeing how fans make the memory of a movie last like it does. And they had all of these snippets of people on the internet talking about it, critiquing it, analyzing it. They talk about how the movie is in the DNA of the Black community, which is so cool. I love that. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna go look up that guy's YouTube channel because I really want
Oh,
to
I
watch
know.
that
Yeah.
video
That looks
now.
like a really good video.
And I thought it was funny because they did it was a quick little snippet of it. But they had like ma people doing makeup, and I recognized one of the women that I used to follow on like YouTube, like early YouTube makeup days. I
Yeah.
was like, oh, that's her. It's like Andrea, and I was like, oh, that's her. Because she dressed up as Roxanne.
And they had Cleo Thomas. Did you notice that?
Oh, what?
I was so surprised that they didn't like say who it was. But yeah, Cleo Thomas does like YouTube now. He like plays like video games and stuff on YouTube or like on I'm sure on like Twitch and whatever too. But yeah, Cleo Thomas was one of the main people that they showed as the fans and he was dressed up as Powerline and yeah. I
Okay,
God,
you
I
just
was
blew
so
my
in love with Cleo
mind.
Thomas. I
I know you were
could not.
from Holes, by the way,
Yes.
Zero from Holes. I like how I have not thought about him in 20 years, and I went,
I know, right?
mm.
But yeah, because I've seen him on like TikTok even. He does like TikTok lives.
I'm gonna look him up because I loved him too. That's so fun.
Yeah. And then also, of course, you have to have a Taylor Swift reference in every episode. There's the Haim sisters.
I did see the Heim sisters.
Yes. She's like, I've never been more passionate about a movie.
I like looked away and I looked back and I went, Heim!
I know. Where'd you
Ah!
come from?
You did not say a Taylor Swift reference in the last episode, by the way, and I'm really disappointed.
Uh,
But I did do But Daddy, I Love Him in this one.
that's true.
So that's good. We're caught up. It was in the
Yeah.
bank. I
It
had to
has to
bank
just be
it.
an average,
Yeah.
an average one for.
Why? Tell me. Why, when they're showing all the people talking on the internet about this movie, why was
Yes.
Al Roker talking about a Goofy movie while walking on a treadmill?
I have no idea. I wondered the same thing, and I need to watch that video because I don't know. I have no idea.
What?
You gotta talk about something on the treadmill, I guess.
I,
I
what? It was so weird.
don't know.
There was no context at
Not
all.
at all. No.
Okay, Al.
Why not? That's my question. Why not? Why aren't you doing that?
Okay, but this quote though, I'm gonna bring it around. I'm gonna bring the mood.
Okay.
It's gonna
Yeah.
sometimes a character as silly as Goofy can mean so much more.
Oh, it can, and it does.
Yeah. That I feel like that so beautifully sums up what this like movie is. It's just like it's so you think it's gonna be so silly and so goofy and it's ex okay. Sorry, cat just attacked me. It's extremely meaningful. Beast doesn't like emotions, by the way. That's why he
Yeah.
attacked me. It's so meaningful, it's so deep, it's got all these really beautiful moments that just oh it made me cry, like I said, and then
Yeah.
this made me cry a couple times too. It made me cry when he was talking about his own father and
Yeah.
like wanting that relationship to be better and showing how he would like his relationship to be through Goofy and Max.
I don't even know who this was, but toward the end they had that other guy. They had his story of how he and his dad used to watch movies all the time, and then his parents separated and they weren't able to watch movies together really anymore. But he himself watched the Goofy movie over and over and was able to see his dad's point of view. And oh,
He wrote a letter about how much it means to him, and he went over his history of watching movies. And then this is why we talk about movies, is because
Yeah.
they have meaning that of what's on screen and like what the story is telling us. But then
Mhm.
we also bring our own meaning into it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so special. Because even though we're not sons and fathers, we still brought our own meaning to it.
Yeah.
You and I used to just like duet Nobody Else But
I
You.
know,
Just like
yes.
that was like our friendship song.
Yes. It's, it is just about love. But that's what they said too. It's like, you never know what's going to happen with a piece of media once you put it out there, what people are going to take from it. And this went further. What made me cry was when they were talking about how they didn't even know how much people did care about it until the D23 thing for the 20th anniversary 10 years ago, where they had a tiny little room and they had to turn so many people away that wanted to see it because it was just way bigger than they thought it was going to be.
Yeah, you put something out into the world, like they said, like you put something out in the world, you don't know how it's going to be perceived. This was not a hit by any
No.
means. This was like a
Mm.
failure
Yeah.
of a movie. And they obviously put so much heart and love into this movie as we keep talking about so much meaningful stuff in here.
Yeah.
It's because of bad marketing on Disney.
Mm.
It's because white men don't see the value in showing relationships of men. And
Yeah.
that's what it is. And like whenever a man tries to tell me that women don't care about male relationships, I'm like,
Ugh,
fuck you. I
God.
care about male relationships. I
Yeah.
need more
More
men to
than you
have
do.
relationships. Yeah. I
That's
need
for
men to
sure.
care about each other a lot more.
Yeah.
Okay. I need us all to care
Yes.
about each other a lot more. I
Yeah.
love seeing movies about men having emotions.
Yeah.
And like I Love You Man is an imperfect movie for sure, but it is one of my
Definitely.
favorite
Yeah.
movies. Tommy Boy, one of my favorite movies, is because it's about male relationships and
hmm
male friendships, like above
Yeah.
everything else.
Yeah. So you just don't see it. And then it
Hmm.
just carries over into life, or life carries on to screen, whatever, one way or another.
I think that that's one of the reasons why like this is was not a huge movie is because of like people are afraid to watch meaningful movies about men.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is like, I don't know, you wouldn't have that same kind of thing anymore because they said it was basically all like VHS sales. So then you have
Hmm.
all these physical copies, and then they have no idea what impact that's having. You can't look at like the number of streams, it's just like someone has this physical VHS and they've watched it 10,000 times and they've shared it with all their friends.
It seems like we everyone did. I didn't have it, but like it seems
Mhm.
like you did. It's that
Yeah.
guy that they were talking that wrote the letter about his father leaving. He said he
Yeah.
watched it every day for like
hmm
months.
Yeah. And you just can't measure it the way you can with things now.
This is such a good documentary. I'm really happy that we watched it. I really, like I said, I love hearing people who make things love what they made in a way that is so, it's like vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah. It comes through in it. It's so
Hmm.
apparent that there's so much heart. I think the only other thing that I want to mention is like with Kevin Lima, he talked about his story of wanting to become an animator and just involved in animated movies. And it was just because he went to see The Jungle Book with his mom when he was a little kid. And she pointed out that all the names on the screen were the people that made the movie. And I think it is just so, we need to stop like telling people that they can't have fun when they're adults. Because so like adults are making these things for kids, like you can't do that. You gotta just continue to have fun and be creative.
I also just think that we need to tell more stories like this and stop dumbing things down. Don't dumb things down. This is a simple movie, but it's not a dumb movie.
No, it's not.
We don't need, we need more things that show children about emotions, about relationships, about friendships.
Mhm.
And it has songs, it's colorful, it moves so fast. Like this is a
Hmm.
hour 15-minute movie.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's all you need. You
Perfect.
can get so much in.
On that note, I have something to talk about. Do you see this?
Yes.
At the very beginning, blink and you'll miss it, they talk about Dr. Looney's remedy,
Yes.
which has been a fever dream to us for
I
years
know.
since the basement days. It is this weird ass music video that played before on the VHS, and this song apparently didn't come out until like 1997 or 8. So like it's a later like printing of the VHS too.
Interesting. Because yeah, even the guy in the documentary didn't even remember it.
Yeah.
The other guy.
I just wanted to watch it with you real quick. I know we're obviously it's not going to be on there, but I really need to I really need to watch this with
I
you.
know, right?
Okay. Um I heard that and I found it and I was gonna watch it and then I was like, no, no, no.
Yeah, you gotta
I
wait.
have to watch that with you
Oh my God.
because that and then the weird what was it? The music
Oh,
video that came before Clueless.
um, I can't remember what the song is called, but it's Supergrass.
Yeah.
Um, oh God. I don't know. But yeah, just having like music videos at the start of VHS tapes. So good.
I love that they like offhandedly just mention it at the
I
very
know.
beginning.
I would have never thought about that again in my life, even though I saw it a billion times.
I think about it a lot.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. And I like it's been stuck in my head for years and I had no idea what it was.
Oh my God. I had totally forgot about it.
Now it's going on the rotation.
Oh yeah. Stick it in there.
Can't wait to get drunk to this song.
It's so ridiculous. That
So
video.
ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I'll link it in the show notes,
Do
don't you
it.
worry.
Do it.
Actually, let's close out by saying if you have anything else to say about the documentary or the movie, and just let's just like have a quick word on like each what this movie means to us, just to like to wrap it up. Even though we're gonna do this every single year until we die. So
Yeah. So this year, what it means to me.
yeah, and then it's gonna mean something else next year,
Yeah.
and
Just ever evolving, you know? No, I do just it is just such a different story. And it is just something that needs to be shown. And I wish it was shown more. And I hope that with this documentary coming out and people talking about it more, that movie makers will take note and do
mm,
that.
it's good.
Maybe.
That's
We'll
good.
see.
I like that. Yeah, movie makers, let's do
Listen here,
it.
okay?
Listen here.
That's what people want to see.
I agree. I agree. And I feel like movies are feel at times like a very solo individual
Mm.
activity.
Yeah.
And I think when you can connect with your friend in her basement in Oakdale, Minnesota, and then
Yeah.
years later, talk about the same movie with the same friend, talk about a documentary of hundreds of thousands of people loving the movie for the exact same things and for their own individual reasons that they loved it.
Yeah.
I think that's so special and I think it makes me feel part of something. And
Yeah,
it just, it is an important, it's an important movie.
it is. It really is. Much more than, I mean, they talk about it, but yeah, it didn't get the attention or credit that it deserved at
It
the time.
didn't.
But it became what it is because people saw the value of it.
They did, and we see. I do think it's important. I think that that's why it's important for us to talk about these things. And like, I'm not saying what we're doing is important because we have like two
Yeah.
listeners and my mom and my dad, and my cat Gambit.
Yeah.
And th this is mostly us talking for fun. But I
Yeah.
just sharing and talking and bringing new meaning, thinking about how we thought about things then and how we feel about them now, and just like kind of keeping on like parsing over the things of the past is really important in general. And I love talking about these things that we both loved so much
Yeah.
together. It's so
Mhm.
special. And
It
like
is.
in the documentary, I kind of felt like that. I was like, these are all my best friends.
I know, right? Like,
These are, we
yes,
go all in Ashley's
these
basement.
people get it. Yeah. I love documentaries, but like you said, just seeing other people's stories about them.
hmm What they took from it and how they feel about it. And
Mm.
media like touches you in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And that's why it's important to make good media
Yeah.
and to share stories and to read and experience stories that are not just about your identity, but about a lot of other
Right.
people's identities as
Yeah.
well.
Absolutely.
hmm
That's the take.
And that's the sip.
That's the sip.
We're workshopping. All right, next week, as we said, we are going to be talking about what not to wear, which was
Yes.
also very important, and we'll probably cry a lot on that one too.
Mhm.
And follow us on Instagram at Nostalgic Nightcaps and rate and review on whatever podcast platform you are currently listening. And please, tell us. Did you love a Goofy movie? What did it mean to you? What do you love about it? Do you play the board game? Ryan and I play the board game.
Oh my God, this board game.
Yes, it's the map. It's the
This
map.
one
You follow
right
the
here.
map. It's really cool.
I love
It's a
it.
fun game. It's really
Yeah.
fun. Okay.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.